Hello everyone, my name is Anita Sen, your science teacher from Shri Rama Bharti Public School. Today I will explain few topics from reproduction in plants. Now today we will discuss fertilization. What is fertilization? When male and female gametes they fuse, then this process is known as fertilization. And during this process, zygote is formed. So after once the pollination takes place, a thin tube grows down from the pollen grain and which is on the stigma of the flower. Now you can see here also the stigma of the flower. Here the pollen grains are there and then a tube starts growing from here. This thin tube is known as pollen tube. It is known as pollen tube. Now it contains the male gamete and grows through the style right down to reach the ovary. Once inside the ovary, it enters the ovules. Now you can see here, from here it starts and then it enters the ovule. Then the male gamete travels through this tube and fuses with the female gamete. And this whole process, the fusion of male and female gamete, is known as fertilization. And then the fertilized cell is known as zygote. Now the ovules will develop into seeds and this ovary will develop into fruit. The zygote is the first cell formed after fertilization and then it divides and develops into an embryo. Now how the fruit and seed formation takes place. The function of the flower is to help in the fertilization. We all know this because the male and female parts are present in flower only. After fertilization, the flowers become redundant, means it becomes unnecessary. So the whatever sepals are present there, then the corollas are there, they means they all wither along with the stamens, stigma and style. Now what is left there? The ovary, which develops into a fruit, and the ovules which are present inside the ovary, which develops into seeds. So simply what we can say, sepals wither, then corolla withers, then stamen, stigma, style all go away, and after that the ovary develops into a fruit and the ovules develops into seeds. Now come how the seeds disperse. Because we know the plants they cannot move. So how the dispersion of the seeds takes place? Once the seeds dry, they get dispersed. Dispersed means they scatter over a large area by the different means of seed dispersal, by wind, by water, by animals, as well as by the explosion of the fruit. So different means of seed dispersal helps the plants as it helps the seeds to reach a suitable medium where it germinates and then it grows into a plant. First of all, we will see what is the dispersal by explosion. When the pod, you can see here, this is the pod, or we can say it is a fruit or pod. When it bursts and open with a great force, the seeds scatter, and this is the dispersal by explosion. Mostly it occurs in the pea plants and balsam. Dispersal by wind. The seeds that are dispersed by wind, they have wing structure or they have a tuft of hair which help them to carried away by the wind. And when the wind blows, these seeds are easily blown away to far off places like in dandelion and maple seeds. Then the dispersal takes place by the help of water, mostly the plants which grows near the water. Now here they have a spongy coat or a layer of fiber which makes them light, and this property helps them to float on water and carry it far off the places like in coconut, like in lotus. Then dispersal by animals. Some animals they eat fruits and discard the seeds. The birds also, they eat fruits along with the seeds and pass out in their excreta. And that is how they disperse the seeds to far areas. And after that, when the seeds get the soil and then it germinates and then a new plants grow under favorable conditions. So this is all for today. time to say goodbye.